Let's move to our next speaker, Mehdi Sakaly. Mehdi Sakaly is the CEO and co-founder of the WGF, World Gaming Federation. In 2011, while working with telco industry, he built one of the first video game streaming service in Europe and served more than 4 million users. In 2015, he co-founded the World Gaming Federation with the objective of creating innovative services for players, event organizers, and brands. And he is now recognized as a leading specialist in video games and esport. So Mehdi will tell us about the way data and AI empower competitive players and brands in esports. Mehdi, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. So I will try to share my screen as well. Okay, so wait a minute. Here it is. Do you see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay, nope. I think it will arrive. Not yet? You don't see my screen, guys? No?
Nope. Nope.
Oh, okay, so I'll try again. Give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is it okay?
No, it doesn't work.
Oh. Emmanuel, can you share the presentation yourself then? Maybe I have a small issue.
Yeah, maybe you can just send it to me and I will share it.
Absolutely. Give me a second.
Sure.
So we will talk, as I said, about esports and AI, which is of course something very interesting because in esports we have of course a lot of applications with AI because everything is in the screen as well. So I'm sending you the presentation right now. You will receive it in less than a second, and of course we will talk about that like for 20 minutes. It's sent, so I think you have it, Emmanuel, if you can check. And we'll begin as soon as possible, like in a few seconds. But as an introduction, as Emmanuel said, we work in esports since more than 15 years, but we created that company in 2015 with the aim of empowering players and see how we can accompany them and support them in using their own data to value their skills and gameplay for the players, for the industry. So basically, when you look at esports, if you know a bit about it, it means that, of course, you play on a network, and usually the competition are streamed on platforms like Twitch, YouTube, and many others. So all the broadcast is done there, and you have like millions of viewers coming to see the competition. And what happens with esports is that, of course, when you play at the beginning and you train against a machine, it means that, of course, the behavior of the computer is like when you play chess, which means that, of course, they have like habits, and it's different from AI. So the aim of the let's say the game publishers was to improve those, let's say the bots and the computer and how they react and how they compete against you. Because playing against the computer and playing against human beings is completely different, like in sports. So what was struggling for the gamers was, how can I improve my level without showing my skills, without showing my strategy? So the game publishers were thinking about that, and in some adventure games like Dark Souls 2 and others, the computer is learning from how you play, and the AI is improving from a day to another. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is that, of course, when you play into esports, you have to understand that the game is balanced every 3-6 months or 1 year. You have a new meta with new characters, with new elements of the game, which means that, of course, you are, challenged by the game itself. So if you had a character that was so strong, maybe he has been balanced and the character is a bit less strong, let's say. So you have to adapt yourself permanently. So that's what's good with AI. It will analyze the way you play, analyze the way you game, and as everything is recorded and broadcasted online, It means that, of course, if we use what we call video deep learning, which is exactly the same that we use in football, the AI will analyze the way you move your character, the way you compete, the way you fight, the way you defend, and of course we give you statistics and elements to train you, to help you to let's say be better, and of course it can also propose and provide a live let's say a live coach that will also help you on that. So of course the fact is that when you are on a solo game, let's say the AI trainer that can be used with IBM Watson or any other AI supercomputer is pretty interesting, but it's still not sufficient when you're playing in a team. Let's say you have a game which is a super big game. We call it League of Legends. This game has 150 million players, and the fact is that you have like 5 different players playing as a team to beat the opponent's team. So you have a special, let's say, duty and role, and you evolve on the map with a certain objective. But if you want to build the best team, well, your behavior in the game has to fit with the rest of the team. So usually, even when you have a good team, you can improve, on a solo way, but you can also improve on the team play, which is a multi-criteria live improvement that you have to create. And it's super difficult for a human being to understand how to correctly react and how to correctly improve. And this is where AI is super performant and super interesting, because AI will look at all the behavior of the team with millions of criteria taken in account, and will of course coach the whole team, which will be something quite different and quite another level of improvement. And it can also compare in less than a second what other strategies are created by the other team, and will coach you so that you can beat that strategy. So AI is super important when it comes to competition in esports, because everything is about statistic and data in esports.
Mehdi, may I interrupt you and just ask you
Absolutely.
if it's the correct document and which slide you're at?
Absolutely. You can go to the next slide.
Okay. Just give me 1 sec. Okay.
And the next one.
Yep.
Okay, we're there.
Okay.
We're there. So I was explaining, of course, talking about the analyze of the gameplay, of the behaviors of the players, and of course how to create AI bots that will act as humans, so that you can train with them, and so that as soon as you improve your own level, the computer itself and the AI is also improving its level to support you, to accompany you, so that you master all the skills of the game. And then we can anticipate some risk that you, let's say, misact in the game, and it will also help you to outside the advices, it will also help you to get to the another level. And then it can compare. Even if you master all the skills of the game, doesn't mean you will win against another human being playing the game, which means that you have to analyze the strategies of the opponents, and you have to be adaptable to all of that. So you see the deepness of how it is complicated, of course, to improve in some games like that. And you can imagine that some sports didn't change since like 100 years and more than that. But esports is changing every month. So as soon as you rebalance the game, everything that you have done has to be reparametered, reset up, so that you learn again how to win, how to beat your opponent. And also in a team, in the what we call the roster, so the number of players playing effectively in the match, you can change that, because from a match to another, you will say you will not be on the field, you will be in your reserve, and you will let another player, let's say, be able to participate to the competition itself. So right now, when you want to recruit new players for your team, so that with the new meta of the game and the new opponents and the new strategies that you want to create, you have to be able, of course, to detect those players. So when you have 150 million active players on the field that are playing the game online, you have to be able to have of course, the machines that will analyze all the broadcasts and all the videos, detect the players that would fit with your team, and try to contact them and to see if they're not under a contract to buy them, and then to make them integrate the team. So this is how it works, and it's of course more efficient and more impactful in the esports industry, of course, because everything is about data, everything is about video, and every data is available. Uh, there is just like, let's say, one exception is that some of the best players, they don't go to train online against some other players before some tournaments, because they want to fine tune some let's say strategies, and for that they need to play against other human beings, of course some of their friends, anonymously with another account than the champion's account, so that people will not analyze his behavior before the match. And also the second thing is that they will also need to be able to have AI, so that the AI will work with the player maybe 100 times, maybe 300 times, maybe 1000 times, 1000 times, with, let's say, a specific strategy that they want to put in place, and everything is timed, because in esports also, on the map when you play the game, there are some, let's say, additional quests that you have to do that will help you to gain experience to beat the opponent. So that's about, I mean, the AI, how it improves the gamer performance. It's super deep today, and you have some companies that are focusing on the training and the coaching of the players, live also elements that we can provide. But it's both ways, because you can be a good player, but also in esports, it's super difficult to be a good. You can go to the next slide, please, Emmanuel. You can also work to be a good viewer. In fact, as you know, esports is super, I mean, young. So it's not a sport that everyone. It's not like an activity that everyone knows. So esports, depending on the game, can be more difficult to understand, as if you begin to be a viewer. I mean, of a competition. So the fact is that when we worked with Watson, IBM Watson machine, they have a super, let's say, deep analysis and deep learning video working with what we call the cognitive science. So what part of the screen as a viewer you're looking at, what sign you're showing when you're smiling or happy or unhappy, all those things, all those assets, all those, let's say, data is super important for the sponsors and also for the event organizer. So when you have a big competition happening there, AI will analyze the, let's say, the face of everyone. If everyone is smiling and everyone is happy, and notice and make it be known in the chat, because in esports, difference with sports is that we have the chat on the side and we can always interact with the event organizers. If everyone is, let's say, happy in the chat and happy as, let's say, showing their faces, it means that everything is fine. But if it's not the case, then you will have some data coming, and the AI will say, okay, maybe it's the right time to give an incentive, to make a contest, to make people interact, to make people express themselves. All those things are super important, so that on the overall event, you can, on a statistic basis, measure and analyze and influence the mood of people, so that you're sure that your event will be, let's say, felt as a, let's say, a good event that brought happiness to people, and was something that people appreciated. So as you know, viewers in esports, as a difference from sports and what's happening on TV, is that usually we have ads, but we also have, like, let's say, click to buy, because on the web you can do it. So basically, some of the brands are looking for the best time to, let's say, activate the community, so that they can participate and buy products. So this is something that is super important as well, and that brands look for. So spectators, of course, will be activated at the time that they're super happy, so that, of course, the AI will choose and predict what is the best way to do the marketing. Also, for the viewers that are, let's say, beginners and don't know really well the game, what can be done with AI is exactly what we have talked about on the fact of let's say supporting the players to improve. Now you will be able to support the viewer, putting, let's say, an AI, an augmented reality image, where you put some glasses and you watch your TV where there is esports, or the computer screen, and you will have some, let's say, additional advice to say that's a relevant information in the game right now. That's what happened. And you can click virtually on this on the augmented reality to get additional information about what is displayed on the screen, so that you understand what is happening in the game. Okay. Of course, what is really important also is that with the chatbots today, we can also isolate some people that are unhappy in the chat, or that can contaminate the mood of the rest of the audience. And of course, the chatbot will be able to talk with that particular viewer to see what is his issue and help him to solve it, so that he can come back to the big pool with all the other audience, and stay positive on the chat. So of course, behaviors can be analyzed and anticipated, as well as influenced on the right way, so that everyone is happy at the end of the event. You can go, please, Emmanuel, to the next slide. So AI to increase the ROI for brands, return on investment. This is something, let's say, the graal for and final achievement for all the brands. And the fact is that, as you know, on the web, we have several problems, like the fact that we are, let's say, we have too much ads, and a lot of people, including gamers, are using, let's say, pop-up and ad blocking. The fact that we're using ad blocking is for a very simple reason. It's because, of course, they're not relevant for that audience, and the fact is that people don't want to be, let's say, only targeted by advertising like that. So analyzing the behavior of people on the web, and when they're happy, when they want to consume, where they want to click, where they're engaged and interested by the content that we're providing. The fact is that, of course, they will be more keen to let's say, enter in the marketing strategy of the brand. So what is interesting in esports is that everything that is happening in the game and all the chat that is on the side have a very strong relationship, which means that if let's say the viewers supporting team A, and team A is winning, and it's the right time, of course, after a win, because usually you have like 3 to 5 matches before declaring a team has won. Let's say you are the third match, you won the first matches. So of course the audience will be happy, more than happy to consume. Like when you are in the stadium of Miami and you're watching basketball, you will go outside, take a hot dog, maybe buy some shirt of the team, things like that. It's exactly the same in esports. So basically, AI will happen very, very fast to analyze, to make predictions, and to advise the brands on when to communicate, how to communicate, and also help the brand to communicate the right way, or a specific way, to each user. So it means that even if you have 1 million users, you can have 1 million different communications going there, but not only as the ad servers work today, but on a way that is super personalized regarding your own history with the machine and what data they have on you. It will personalize completely the let's say, the customer path. The last thing, of course, I talked about the influence about the audience, but it's also on the portfolio of ads. When you have an ad server, you have like millions of let's say, advertisers that wants to push their ads to the audience. And the fact is that even if you may be interested by a car, maybe you don't have a driver license. So it means that maybe you are in the right age, the right gender and so on, and right revenue, but it doesn't mean that you need a car. So what is good with AI, it's also that with the data that we will have, we will also be able to customize the portfolio and exclude completely some of the, let's say, the ads that do not will not perform, because we will be able to, with the tracking and the metrics, to be able to define what kind of ROI has been done before and work on that so that the machine can instantly adapt to what is happening and take the accurate decision. You can go to the next slide, please, Emmanuel.
Okay, you have 2 minutes left.
I know, I'm at the end. It's the last slide. So, of course, as you know, I presented only a few, let's say, a few usages that can be done with AI in esports. But as I have put a bit of them here, because as esports is mainly online, it's of course related to digital marketing. So I talked about the advertising, the fact that we can personalize completely the user experience in a way that fits their expectations. The AI, of course, can empower the chatbots to communicate and solve problems or change the mood of users by influencing them. We can do predictive analysis in the competition side. As I told you, it's super important. And we can also customize the interface. If some people want the interface to be green or blue or another presented, displayed another way, it can be done. For e-commerce, of course, we can do recommendation on the products that will fit your previous buyings and of course, maybe your expectation on the products that you're willing to buy in the future. We can also, do marketing campaigns and voice search optimization to ease the customer path and to reduce, of course, the time of searching of users, as well as using augmented reality, as I said, as a coach that will also display the relevant information or help you to find them more fast. The content creation for ads, videos, and many others can be also done by AI, because maybe you have already seen a specific video or trailer, it will not be displayed the second time. So we can, of course, help to communicate with the users. And the content generation can be way better, of course, because it will fit. Every user can have a different experience coming to a concert or going to an esports competition, just because we know who you are, so we know what you like. Thank you. If you have, of course, some question, we will be happy to talk about it after.
Thank you, Mehdi. Insightful and personal opinion, a little bit scary. How data, once again, is at the core of all the system and how it is used for marketing purposes. And personally, I do feel like we are far away from sport, and sometimes I'm not sure I will attend any kind of sport event later, given all that you've said. But that was really interesting, and especially about the recruitment of players. Really interesting to see how it can be used in order to recruit the best players for some games. Really interesting. Thank you for that, Mehdi. Thank you for this insightful presentation.